Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you all children? I hope you all are fine with your families. Today we are going to do a topic related to geometry. Now when we say geometry, the first thing that we will look at is your geometry box, right? So first we will see what all instruments we find in our geometry box. I have all the instruments over here, but these are bigger in size because we use them on the board. In your geometry box you will have same instruments, but they will be smaller in size. Okay. So the first thing which is very common thing that we use is the scale or the ruler. This also you will find in your geometry box, but it will be smaller in size. Okay. And we use this to draw the lines. The next thing that we see in our geometry box is something like this. A semicircle sort of a thing, which we call it a protractor. Okay. The third thing that you can see in your geometry box is an instrument like this with two arms, which we call a divider. This is a divider. There will be a metal rod like thing on both the sides. Okay. Then the next thing that you see in your geometry box is a compass, where you see one arm of the compass will be having a sharp, and the other side there will be a place where you can put your pencil in it. Okay. And you will also find two triangles in your geometry box. We call these two set squares. Okay. So these are the instruments that you find in your geometry box. Today the lesson that we are going to do in our maths topic is angles. Angles. Okay. Now to measure the angles or to draw the angles, the instruments that we use are the protractor and the scale. Okay. So these are the two things that we use to draw an angle. Now what is a scale? You all know it. We use it to draw the straight lines. But protractor is something which we need to understand about it, okay, and how to use this instrument. Now on the board you can see I have drawn a protractor, okay, and we will try to understand how this protractor is used and how we use the scales which are there on the protractor. Okay. On the protractor there are two scales. You can see, you can keep an eye on your protractor which is there in your compass geometry box, so that you can follow what I am saying. Now if you look into your protractor, there will be two scales. At one end of the scale you will find 0, 10, 20, 30 going on till 180. Then you will find one more scale which starts from 0 and goes on to 180. That means right side of the protractor there will be 0 and 180 both, and the left side also it will have 0 and 180. That means that angles will be facing either the right side or the left side. Depending upon which side the angle is facing, we use the scale. Okay. If it is facing the right side like this, then we will use the scale which is starting from 0 to the right side. If we are drawing an angle facing the left side, okay, then we will use the scale which has 0 at the left side. Okay. Now you can see this point in the center. This is the center point of the protractor. Okay. At this point an angle will be formed. Now what do we mean by an angle? We have been saying that we use a protractor to draw an angle. What is an angle then? Angle is formed when two lines meet at a point. You can see the two lines are meeting at a point. Now this point is called the vertex, and the two lines that meet, these two lines are called the arms of the angle. And can you see this part? This part shows us the angle, how much angle is formed. Okay. Now to measure an angle we use a unit which we call as degree. And can you see this? This is the symbol that we use to show degree. Okay. Now how we write the degrees or how we write the measure of the angles, that we will see on the protractor. If you look at your protractor, the measures that are written on the protractor are 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on till 180 degrees, right. So, we measure the angles accordingly, like we measure them in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, not like how we measure the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, we measure the angles in these numbers 10, 15, 20, 25, but we use, if you see the protractor, the numbers that are written in tens, okay, multiples of tens, and this is how we measure the angles. Okay. Now, how to name the angle? If you look at this angle, I have given the name to this angle. You can see I have used capital letters like R, S, T, right. So, to name the angle, we use capital letters or the alphabets. Okay. We can use any alphabet to name the angle. So, here I have used R, S and T. The middle point where the angle is formed is always written in the center, like this is how we write the angle. Angle, this is a symbol of angle, angle R, S, T. Now, S tells us that this is the point where the angle is formed. You can see this point, the vertex where the angle is formed. This vertex, the name of this vertex should come in the middle of the three letters. In the center we write this letter where the angle is formed. Okay. So, we write it right, angle R, S, T. This is how we name an angle. Okay. Now, here which are the arms of the angle? R, S is one of the arm, T, S is another arm of the angle. So, these two are the arms of the angle, and which is the vertex? S is the vertex. We can name or read the angle in two ways, that is angle RST, or we can also read it as angle TSR. These are the two ways in which we can read an angle, angle RST or TSR. S is the vertex, RS and ST are the arms of the angle. Okay. Now, we will move on and see the different types of angles. Total there are 6 types of angles, but today we are going to discuss only 4 types of angles, and we will see how these angles are classified. Now, you can see on the board there are 4 types of angles: acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle and straight angle. These are the 4 types of angles that we are going to discuss today. Okay. Now, these angles are classified depending upon the measure of the angle, how many degrees the angle measures. Depending on that, we have put them into these types. Okay. Acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle and straight angle. Now, we saw on a protractor we had degrees like 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, so on till 180 degrees, right. Now, the angles that measure less than 90 degrees, you can see this 90 degree over here, this is the center of a protractor, right, and you can see a straight line goes over here, correct. So, this is half of the protractor, you can say, or the center of the protractor. So, angles that measure less than 90 degrees, that is between 0 and 90, the angles that fall between 0 and 90 degrees, we call them acute angles. Acute, they are the cute angles, right. Small angles, small children we say they are so cute, isn't it? Same way, the small angles we can say they are acute angles, they are the small angles less than 90 degree. Like I have an example of 40 degrees over here. Yes, 40 degrees less than 90 degrees. So, it is an acute angle. What about 70 degrees? It is also an acute angle because 70 is less than 90 degrees. If I say 55 degrees, it is also an acute angle. 44 degrees, acute angle. Right. So, like this we can say, looking at the degree of the angle, we can find out which type of angle it is. Okay. So, all the angles that are less than 90 degrees, between 0 and 90, more than 0, less than 90 degrees, we call acute angles. Okay. Next type is the right angle. Right angle, can you see this angle? Upright position, straight, right? So, the angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. You can see here the angle that measures exactly 90 degrees. We call it right angle. It stands right, straight, upright position, right? So, 90-degree angle is called right angle. Okay. Then moving on to a third type, obtuse angle. Obtuse angles, you can see the shape of the angle. What do you understand? What type of angle or how many degrees do you think it will measure? It will be more than 90 degrees. Obtuse angle will measure more than 90 degrees, okay, and less than 180 degrees. That means it will be more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. You can see 180 degree over here. If we start from this 0, the angle will go on, the obtuse angle will go on more than 90 degrees, okay, and but it will be less than 180 degrees. Okay. So, these type of angles are called obtuse angle. I have an example over here of 130 degree. 130 is more than 90. So, it is an obtuse angle. What about 150 degree? It is an obtuse angle. It is more than 90, less than 180 degrees. If I have an angle say 170 degrees, it is also an obtuse angle. Then 165 degrees will also be an obtuse angle. Any angle that measures more than 90 degrees and less than 180 degrees, it is called an obtuse angle. Okay, then next, the last type that we are going to discuss today is the straight angle. The name itself says us that it will be a straight line like this, right? Straight angle. Straight angle measures 180 degrees. You can see the protractor, 0 and 180, they fall on the same line, isn't it? So, the angle measuring 180 degrees will be a straight angle. Okay, once again we will see acute angle, angles that measure less than 90 degrees, more than 0 degrees, less than 90 degrees are called acute angle. Right angle will measure exactly 90 degree. The angle that measures 90 degrees are called right angles. Obtuse angle will measure more than 90 degrees, but it will be less than 180 degrees. That means between 90 and 180. These angles are called obtuse angle. Straight angle will measure exactly 180 degrees. So, the angle that measures 180 degree are called straight angles. Now, you can see all these angles, I have named them like A, B, C to the acute angle. You can see A, B, C. B is the vertex where the angle is formed. Okay, here this is the point where two arms are meeting. Same way you can see in this right angle also, I have named it as P, Q, R. Q is the vertex and at this vertex you can see the angle is formed. Okay, same thing you can see over here in the obtuse angle also. The two arms that we have are MN and NO. So, the angle MNO is an obtuse angle and at this vertex N the angle is formed. Okay. So, this is how we differentiate the different types of angles depending upon the degree that they measure. Okay. I hope you have understood the parts of the angle, the instrument that we use, the unit that we use to measure the angles and how we name the angles and the 4 types of angles that we differentiate depending upon the measure. Keep practicing children and inshallah we will meet very soon with our next topic. Stay at home and be safe. Jazakumullahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.